I think it's really showing me once I came to Washington and I saw like the Human Rights Museum and going to the classes, I realized how big it actually was and how much it impacted and how many more people there were. Because at first, um, like I wasn't that I was a lot of people died and that was the number. It was a lot of people. But then once I really came here, I noticed that there was millions and millions, and it's not you can't like number it by a million because every single person is their own individual, and I couldn't imagine how much time it would have taken for no one to do anything and to let it go on like that, because I always just kind of assumed that the camps would be like kind of small, and I was wondering how could anyone let this happen for this long. But what really hit me is when I was in the museum, there was a picture of a concentration camp, and it was the biggest. It was one of the biggest areas I've ever seen that was occupied by all of the same buildings. It had so many just straight across, and then I read what it said under the picture, and it said almost half of the camp is visible in this picture, and I was like, I can't deal with this. This is too much for me right now. And I like that was probably the most difficult thing, is realizing that it was all done that easily in one spot, and that probably that really changed my view of just how like the size and the impact of the whole war and the Holocaust. Well, I know that I can't personally do anything alone, but I'm kind of hoping, because I have lots of friends and that are on this trip, and I'm hoping kind of to maybe start something that we can do as like a group, instead of, because if I do it alone, it's not as effective. But if I try to do something with maybe more people, people will start to like notice, and maybe we'll be able to like make people aware of what's happening in the world and what has happened already, because I think it's important that everyone figures that out. And I've tried before like to tell people, but I've never thought it was too important. So if they didn't listen, I kind of let it go. But since I started, I kind of wanted to see if there's any better ways to tell people, and since I have more people that know about it now, we can work together, and I think we can actually make a difference. Well, the same thing as before, kind of, if I work with other people and we kind of try to change like things together. But I also think that we have to make sure that people know, like before we start telling someone about this, we have to know that they're actually listening, and make sure we have to draw people's attention to this. So if they say something derogatory and I want to change it, I'm not just going to be like, hey, don't say that, that's mean. I have to actually state something that will change them, because I know I'm not going to say something like stop, and stop doesn't always work. So I have to do something bigger, and I have to use my knowledge that I've gained from this trip to change their knowledge.